Good, thank you. So in the last edition, the conclusion of my piece said, the case of the Netherlands offers a possible corrective to the gap hypothesis, which is supposed to regroup all the chapters. As discussed in this book, this hypothesis holds that the gap between the goals of national immigration policy and actual policy outcomes is increasing, thereby provoking greater public hostility towards immigrants in general and putting pressure on political parties and government officials to adopt more restrictions. For the gap hypothesis to operate, it must first be clear what the goals of national immigration policy are, and such clarity, I wrote, is lacking in the case of the Netherlands, where both public opinion and the government's approach appear to be polarized and volatile. A colleague of mine says the future is Dutch. If you want to see what the world will look like, go to the Netherlands. So now it seems to me that polarization and volatility have become generalized. We can have a discussion. I want to have a short presentation. I'm happy to, for any members of the audience who don't, if there are any, I'm happy to share my slides with you and my chapter. Come up and give me your email address. So I hope we can have a general discussion about trends that are happening. We may, in the volume, want to do something about having a thematic chapter on populism or polarization or something along those lines. Okay, a brief presentation. Okay, and these are the slides in the chapter. The main thing to note from this one is the increasing mobility. This is per thousand population. The increasing mobility, both immigration, people entering the territory, and emigration, people leaving the territory. And then you see the long historical emigration, a little bit of immigration, emigration, immigration, 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 what you see there. Again, mobility is the main thing. There's more people entering the territory, more people leaving the territory. This is common, I think, among a lot of the cases in the book. Okay, so this is it broken down a little more instead of those quarter centuries. You see ups and downs. There's a lot of, the chapter talks about a lot of emigration of people born in the Netherlands in the 50s and 60s. This is the independence of Suriname. So post-colonial, the chapter goes a lot into post-colonial stuff. This made the Netherlands a little bit unique in Western Europe, more people leaving the Netherlands than coming in. But again, we see similar ups and downs elsewhere. Okay. So the chapter goes into a lot of detail. Germany is relatively stable in terms of people born outside the territory and where they're born. Indonesia, of course, was the largest group. This is post-colonial, and now those people have died, basically, or half of them have died. So, right, go 10 years from now, and this will be 50,000 or less. That's my prediction. Suriname, fairly stable. Turkey, fairly stable, nothing in 1971, and then a big wave, and now fairly stable. Morocco, same thing, nothing in 1971, and then fairly stable. The other countries is what's increasing, and leading to the total of about 2.1 million people born outside the territory living in the Netherlands, which is about 12.1, which is similar to other cases in the book, France, Germany, etc. Now, if we go to again, the terminology, the first generation, the second generation, it's the same statistical techniques. Here's the 2.1 million, that's the total born abroad. But then you add the second generation. And the second generation has all kinds of people. So here's people with one parent born in Indonesia. This includes Geert Wilders, his mother was born in Indonesia. This includes the royal family, the king, his father and his grandfather were born in Germany. They were princesses. Their mother was born in Argentina. So lots of people are allochtone, but nobody calls the king an allochtone. And Wilders doesn't. Wilders uses allochtone in a nasty way. Right. So okay. The interesting things to note here is the totals, obviously, and what I find interesting also is the relationship between one parent and two parent. So if you look at second generation allochtone, the proportion with two parents versus one versus Germany, the proportion with two parents and one. It's quite quite different. Syria is even more so, right? Okay, I promise to keep it. Okay, this is net immigration, so immigration minus immigration by country of birth. And the key thing, in common with a lot of the other chapters, is the rise of this yellow thing here, that's the EU. So I included, the EU has kept enlarging. I count Poland even as part of the EU, even way back then. So that's not what's changing, it's just that more people from the EU are coming in. Turkey, which used to be big in the 70s, is now had some negative years here and there, you see negative. Morocco, same thing. Morocco is now basically nothing, unimportant. Suriname and the Antilles, same thing. Again, that's the independence of Suriname, and the chapter goes into some detail about that. And now, essentially, it's not important. The important thing, again, is Europe. Okay. This is it broken down by country. I hope you can sort of read those totals there. This is the period 1995 to 2018, and then the total net immigration over that time period. Poland 135,000, Syria 84,000, the former Soviet Union 63,000, China 47, Turkey, Morocco, Iraq, Antilles and Aruba, Germany, and Afghanistan. And what you see here really is the ups and downs. So the Antilles and Aruba, that's the yellow line here. The Poland, up and up and up and up and up. And this is the big peak. This is the big peak of Syria. Depending on what happens both in Syria and what the Dutch government does, we may see this go below the zero line here if asylum seekers are sent back. So that's a question for politics. Okay, the emigration, the chapter has a lot on emigration. I won't go into the weeds here, other than to say that the traditional countries of emigration, so Canada, Australia, the US, New Zealand, have basically disappeared as net emigration destinations. And now people born in the Netherlands, they go to Belgium, Germany, the rest of Europe, UK, France, etc., etc. So there's intra-EU mobility. The EU, the Commission, etc., have long been trying to achieve this. Well, in the case of the Netherlands, it's working. The chapter has a lot on citizenship, because most of what I do is related to citizenship. And the Netherlands is fairly unique. It's at one extreme in terms of the proportion of immigrants who naturalize. It's very high. That's the takeaway from that. You see here changes over time. This is when the law was changed, so there was a big boom. Before that, it was quite low. And then you see very open naturalization, the peak year 1996, and then down, and then it's fairly stable after that. The thing to know about this is in the peak year, 56% of the total were from Turkey and Morocco. Now, it's only 21%. So, essentially what's happened here, you see the number and the percentage of the total foreign-born population. There were 135,000 Moroccan citizens living without Dutch nationality, living in the Netherlands in 1998. And here there are 42,000 Moroccans. That's because 100,000 or so of them have naturalized. Same thing for Turkey, 114 down to 75. There's, as you saw a couple of slides ago, there's still slightly more immigration from Turkey, but that's what's happening there. And that's the end of my slide, and I've talked for 9 minutes.
Wow.
Should hopefully leave time for discussion.